I bought my parents a luxury car and wiped out every debt, but at my mom's retirement party she laughed that I was just a fool buying respect. So I cut them off, and when 105 missed calls filled my phone, I realized their collapse was only the beginning. For years, I've been the financial backbone of my family. It started small, covering a few bills here and there, helping out when my parents needed a little extra. But before I knew it, I was paying for everything. The mortgage, the car payments, my mom's medical bills, even my dad's golf club membership. And it wasn't just money they took from me, it was everything I could offer. I'm a corporate lawyer, one of the best in my firm. I work 70-hour weeks, negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts, making sure my clients never see the inside of a courtroom. I don't have a wife, no kids, no time for vacations, no time for anything really except work. And my family took full advantage of that. My sister Anna got used to calling me every time she needed rent money or a new phone. My cousin Mark, who ran a struggling construction company, had me handling his legal work for free, contract reviews, settlements, lawsuits. Even my parents relied on me for everything. I drafted their wills, negotiated a better deal on their insurance, and got my dad out of trouble after he crashed into someone's car. So, when my mom was finally ready to retire, I made sure she wouldn't have to worry about anything. I paid off their house, cleared all their debt, even surprised them with a brand new luxury car because my dad had always wanted one but could never afford it. I thought just this once, maybe they'd be proud of me. Maybe I'd be more than just their personal ATM. I was wrong. The humiliation I wasn't supposed to hear. My mom's retirement party was huge, a high-end restaurant, live music, over 100 guests, family, friends, former colleagues. I handled everything, the food, the venue, even a slideshow of her career highlights. At some point during the night, I stepped outside to take a call from a client. When I returned, I heard my mother's voice coming from the hallway near the restrooms. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but then I heard my name. Ethan actually thinks that just because he pays for everything, it makes him important. I froze. Well, you did say he's so naive, my Aunt Linda laughed, sighing dramatically. Of course he is. We raised a fool who thinks he's important just because he pays our bills. Laughter, casual, effortless, like they were discussing the weather. Well, at least he's useful, my dad chuckled. He brings in the money and free legal work, my cousin Mark added. Not the worst fool to have in the family. I stood there numb. A fool, that's all I was to them. Not a son, not a brother, not family, just some idiot willing to hand over his money and skills without question. And in that moment, something inside me snapped, the one thing they never expected. I walked back into the banquet hall, heart pounding, head spinning. The party was still in full swing, guests laughing, drinking, completely oblivious to the fact that everything had just changed. I headed straight for my table, pulled out my phone, and right there in front of everyone, I opened my banking app. What are you doing? Anna asked, frowning. I canceled every automatic payment tied to their accounts, mortgage, utilities, car payments, insurance, gone. All done, I said, slipping my phone back into my pocket. What do you mean all done? My dad asked, setting down his drink. I exhaled slowly. It means you're on your own now. My mother's smile vanished. Ethan, stop being dramatic, she said, her voice sharp. Dramatic? I let out a short laugh. No, this is long overdue. You think I'm naive for paying your bills? Fine, let's see how you like paying them yourselves. The room went silent. Ethan, you can't be serious, Aunt Linda said, nervously chuckling. Oh, I'm completely serious. I turned to Mark. And by the way, if you need legal help, hire an attorney. I'm done. Mark clenched his jaw. Are you really doing this over a joke? No, I said, calm and cold. I'm doing this because I finally see you all for what you are. Anna scoffed. Oh my God, grow up. You're acting like a child. No, actually, I'm acting like a lawyer who just terminated a bad contract. And with that, I turned and walked out, and not one of them could stop me. The first 2 days were dead silent. Then the call started. First, it was my mom. Ethan, you forgot to send the money for the electricity, dear. Can you fix that today? Ignored. Then my dad, son, this is serious. If we don't pay the insurance... Ignored. Then Anna, you're really punishing all of us over one stupid comment? Grow up. Ignored. By the end of the week, I had 37 missed calls. By the end of the month, the number had climbed to 105, and that's when the real chaos began. At first, I expected them to cool off, to maybe reflect. I was wrong. The silence didn't last long. After the 105 missed calls, they changed tactics. It started with guilt-tripping messages. Mom, Ethan, we're your family. Families don't do this to each other. Dad, your mother is so stressed she can't sleep. Do you even care? Anna, wow, so you're just going to abandon us like we're strangers? I didn't respond. Then came the passive-aggressive posts on social media. Anna wrote, "Some people only do things for others so they can hold it over their heads later. Real love is unconditional." I laughed when I saw it. Unconditional? I had been paying her bills for years, never asking for anything. But now that I stopped, I was the villain. Then they got desperate. "Mom, Ethan, the electricity was shut off today. We don't have power. How could you do this?" That one almost got me. Almost. Then I remembered I had been paying the bill for years, and every time I asked if they needed help budgeting, my mom would brush it off. "Oh, don't worry about that, sweetheart. We'll figure it out." Well, time to figure it out. The unannounced visit. A week later, they showed up at my office. I was in the middle of reviewing a case when my assistant buzzed in. "Ethan, your family is here. They don't have an appointment, but they're insisting it's urgent." I sighed, rubbing my temples. I should have expected this. Send them to the conference room. I closed my laptop and walked in to find Mom, Dad, and Anna sitting there looking pissed. "Ethan," Mom started, "this has gone on long enough. You made your point. Now let's be reasonable and fix this." "Fix what?" I asked, leaning against the table. "The bills," she snapped. "We're behind on everything, the mortgage, the car, the insurance. Not my problem," I said simply, "not your—" My dad shook his head. "Son, you can't just cut us off like this. We're family." "Oh, I can, and I did." Anna crossed her arms. "So what? You just expect us to struggle? You mean like I struggled working 70-hour weeks to pay for everything while you all sat back and laughed at me?" I shot back. She scoffed. "It was just a joke, Ethan." "You're blowing this way out of proportion." I leaned forward, resting my hands on the table. "Let me be crystal clear. You laughed at me. You mocked me. You used me. And when I finally stood up for myself, suddenly I'm the bad guy? No, that's not how this works." Mom put on her sympathetic voice. "Sweetheart, we never meant to hurt you. We just assumed you enjoyed helping us." "Enjoyed?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Did I ever get a choice?" Silence. "Exactly," I said. Dad tried a new approach. "All right, Ethan, let's make a deal. Maybe you don't have to cover everything anymore, but just help out with the big things. The house, the car, the insurance. That's fair, right?" I smiled. "Sure, I'll make a deal." For a brief second, I saw relief flash across their faces. Then I said, "I'll pay for everything again if you sign a contract stating you'll pay me back every cent with interest." The relief vanished. "Ethan, don't be ridiculous," Mom snapped. "Oh, I'm very serious." I pulled out a blank legal contract from my bag. "Since you all love using me for my legal skills, let's make this official." Anna gaped at me. "You expect us to pay you back?" "Yes. You never asked for money back before," she protested. "And you never appreciated it before," I shot back. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "You're acting like a complete stranger." I stared at him, unfazed. "You made it clear that the only reason you put up with me was because I paid for everything. So now, let's see if you still want me around without my wallet." Silence. Mom looked at the contract, then at me. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." She pushed back her chair and stood up. "Fine. Keep your money. But don't expect us to come crawling back when you realize you need your family." "I won't," I said. Anna stormed out first, then my dad, then my mom. I sat back in the chair, exhaled, and smiled. For the first time in years, I felt free. The final blow. A month passed. The missed calls slowed down. The guilt-tripping messages faded. Then one afternoon, I got a text from Anna. "We're selling the house. Mom and Dad can't afford it without your help." I stared at the message for a long moment, then I typed back, "Not my problem. Good luck." And for the first time in my life, I hit send without feeling a shred of guilt. After my family stormed out of my office, I expected them to finally back off. I was wrong. First, they tried the emotional route. Aunt Linda sent me a long text about the importance of family and how I was turning my back on the people who raised me. My dad left a voicemail, his voice heavy with disappointment. "I thought I raised a better man than this, Ethan. You're letting us all down. Anna, she just sent a single text. You're pathetic." I ignored all of them. Then they escalated. One evening, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Ethan? Hey, it's Tom." Tom, my parents' neighbor, a guy I'd known for years but never kept in close contact with. Hey Tom, what's up? Listen, buddy, I ran into your folks the other day. They're in pretty bad shape, man. Your mom's been crying nonstop. Your dad looks like he's lost 10 pounds. They're struggling, Ethan. I clenched my jaw. And they need you, man. I know there's been some drama, but they're your family. You really going to let them lose their house? Ah, there it was, the guilt trip through a third party. Did they tell you why they're in this mess? I asked. Well, Tom hesitated. Did they tell you that I paid for everything for years? That I covered their mortgage, their debts, their cars? Silence. No? I didn't think so, I said coldly. Tom, I respect you, but don't call me again about this. It's not my problem anymore. I hung up. The setup. A week later, I got a call from my firm's HR department. Ethan, we need to talk. There's been a situation. My stomach tightened. What kind of situation? A woman claiming to be your mother called us this morning. She was very distressed. She said you had a mental breakdown and that she's worried about your well-being. I blinked. She what? She asked if we could check in on you. She even hinted that maybe your workload was too much and you needed some time off. I saw red. This wasn't just manipulation. This was an attempt to sabotage my job. You realize this is complete nonsense, right? I said, barely containing my anger. Of course, but we had to follow up. She made it sound like a serious mental health crisis. We're just glad to hear you're okay. Oh, I'm fine, I said through gritted teeth. But if she calls again, tell her to stay the hell out of my business. I hung up, furious. They were escalating, and I had a feeling this wasn't their final move, the final scam. It came 2 weeks later. I was at work when I received an urgent voicemail from Anna. Ethan, please. I know you hate us right now, but I need your help. It's about Dad. He's in trouble. Big trouble. Please just call me back. I didn't trust it, but a small part of me, the part that still cared, made me call her back. She picked up immediately. Ethan, her voice was shaky, like she had been crying. What's going on? Dad, he got involved in something bad. He borrowed money from the wrong people. Loan sharks, they're threatening to take the house. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Anna, cut the crap. I'm serious. He didn't tell us until it was too late. They came to the house, Ethan. They said if we don't pay back $50,000 by the end of the month, they'll take legal action. My blood ran cold, not because I believed her, but because I knew this was a scam. See, as a lawyer, I know how real loan sharks operate. They don't send legal notices. They don't threaten lawsuits. They use fists, not lawyers. And $50,000? That was exactly the amount I used to send my parents annually to cover all their bills. It was too perfect. Put Dad on the phone, I said. He's not home right now, she said quickly. Anna, I want to hear it from him. I can't. He's too stressed to talk. That confirmed it. Nice try, I said coldly. But you're a terrible liar. Ethan, I swear this is real. Oh, really? What's the name of the lender? It's First Capital Lending, I laughed. That's a real bank, Anna, not a loan shark. Silence. You just made that up, didn't you? I said. I don't bother. This is the sloppiest scam I've ever seen. At least put some effort into it next time. Ethan, please. Good luck paying that debt without me. And I hung up. The last straw. That was it, the final straw. I blocked their numbers. I changed my email. I even told my law firm's receptionist not to accept any calls from my family. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. A week later, I got one final message from my mother. We're selling the house. Hope you're happy. I stared at the text for a long moment. Then I typed back, I am. And I never looked back. Cutting them off should have been the end of it, but people like my family, they don't just give up. At first, there was silence, no texts, no calls. It had been weeks since the loan shark scam, and I figured they had finally realized I wasn't coming back. Then I got a call from Uncle Ray. I hesitated before answering. He wasn't someone I spoke to often, just a distant relative who lived in another state. Ethan? Hey, it's Ray. Hey, Uncle Ray, what's up? Look, I hate to get involved in family business, but your mom called me. She's saying you abandoned them. I rolled my eyes. Did she also tell you I paid for everything for years? She may have left that part out. Figures. Ethan, I don't want to take sides, but they're really struggling. I mean, they're losing the house. Your dad's a mess. Anna's barely keeping things together. That's not my problem anymore, Ray. He sighed. I get it, kid. I really do. But you know, family is family. I clenched my jaw. Is that what she told you? That I just abandoned them out of nowhere? Silence. Ray, let me save you some time. I paid off their debts. I covered their mortgage. I even bought them a luxury car. And do you know what I got in return? What? They laughed at me behind my back, called me a fool, said the only reason they put up with me was because I paid for everything. Another silence. Then Ray cleared his throat. Yeah, she definitely left that part out. So no, Ray, I'm not paying another cent. Fair enough, kid. I won't bother you again. Click. One by one, they were losing allies. The real fallout begins. 2 months passed. Their house officially foreclosed, the luxury car repossessed, and his business folding. They were finally feeling real consequences. Then, out of nowhere, I got an email from an unknown sender with the subject line, "Are you sure you want to do this to your own mother?" I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. When I opened it, my stomach dropped. It was a GoFundMe page. The title, "Desperate Mother on the Verge of Homelessness After Heartless Son Betrays Family." I felt a mix of rage and disbelief as I read through the description. After years of sacrificing everything for her children, our dear mother has been left abandoned by the one she trusted most, her son, a wealthy lawyer, cruelly cut her off, leaving her with nothing. Now she faces losing her home and needs your help. Attached to the post were old family pictures, ones where I looked happy, where I looked like the beloved son. They were now weaponizing them for pity money. At the bottom, $12,450 raised out of a $50,000 goal. I clenched my fists. They were actually scamming strangers now. And worst of all, it was working. I play my last card. I could have ignored it, let them continue their little fraud campaign. But they made one big mistake. They used my full name. And that was defamation. I immediately forwarded the page to a friend in cybersecurity. Within a few hours, he tracked down the IP address linked to the GoFundMe. Guess where it led? Anna's laptop. I smirked. Gotcha. Then I called my lawyer. Hey, Greg, you still handle defamation cases? Always. Who's the target? My own family. I sent him everything, the GoFundMe link, screenshots, proof of where the money was going. Because, surprise, surprise, it wasn't going to Mom. Anna had withdrawn almost $10,000 already, Greg whistled. Heck, Ethan, this is low, even for family. Yeah, well, they started this. I'm just finishing it. Want to send a cease and desist first or go straight to legal action? I thought about it, then I said no mercy. The final collapse. Within 48 hours, the GoFundMe was shut down, all the money frozen. Anna called me screaming, "You had no right!" Oh, I had every right, I said calmly. It's called fraud, Anna. We were just trying to survive. No, you were trying to steal from innocent people. And now you're facing real legal consequences. She was silent. Oh, and by the way, I also notified GoFundMe's fraud department, so enjoy explaining yourself to them. Click. A week later, I heard through Uncle Ray that Anna had to pay back the donors. My parents, still drowning in debt, their last lifeline gone. A month later, I received one last voicemail from my mom. Her voice was hollow, like she had finally run out of excuses. Ethan, I know you hate us, but we're your family. I don't know what to do anymore. Please, just talk to me. I sat there listening, then I deleted it. For the first time in my life, I owed them nothing. And I never looked back. It's been 6 months since I cut them off, 6 months since I stopped paying their bills, 6 months since I shut down their fraudulent GoFundMe, 6 months since I heard my mother's voice. At first, I expected another wave of manipulation. Maybe they'd send more relatives to guilt-trip me. Maybe Anna would try another scam. Maybe my dad would show up at my office demanding I fix everything. But nothing happened, just silence. I should have felt relieved, but instead I felt strange. Not regret, definitely not guilt, just an odd emptiness. The kind that comes when you realize the people you once called family were just leeches you finally removed. The final attempt. One evening I got home late from work, tossing my briefcase onto the counter. My phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. I hesitated, then against my better judgment I picked up. Hello? A woman's voice came through, shaky. Not my mother. Ethan? It's me. Kelly. I blinked. Kelly, Jacob's wife. She was married to my cousin, and while we'd never been particularly close, she had always been quiet, observant, the only one in the family who didn't treat me like a wallet. Kelly, I said cautiously, what's going on? I don't know if I should be calling, but I thought you should know. Your parents moved in with Anna. I raised an eyebrow. So? So things are bad, Ethan. Really bad. I stayed silent. Anna's business is gone. The house is a mess. Your mom and dad, they barely leave their rooms. And Anna, she's completely unraveling, drinking too much, snapping at everyone. She told me last week that she wishes you had never been born. I snorted. That's not exactly new. No, Ethan, I mean it. She's completely lost it. And now that they don't have you, they're turning on each other. I leaned against the counter, rubbing my temple. Why are you telling me this, Kelly? She hesitated. Because I think your mom is sick. I felt my stomach tighten. Sick how? I don't know exactly. She's lost a lot of weight. She barely speaks. Anna won't take her to a doctor because they don't have money for it. And your dad? He just sits there drinking. I exhaled slowly. This was their reality now. For years, they lived off me, wasting money, laughing behind my back, treating me like I was disposable. And now they were disposable to each other. Kelly, I said after a moment, why are you really calling me? She hesitated again, then she finally admitted the truth. Your mom asked me to call you. She didn't want to do it herself. She said she'd rather die than beg you for help. But Ethan, I think she's hoping you'll come back. I closed my eyes. There it was, their last desperate attempt. I let the silence stretch until Kelly sighed. I know they don't deserve it, but I also know you. And I know this isn't easy for you. I clenched my jaw. She wasn't wrong. Then I said the one thing I knew Kelly didn't want to hear. They made their choice. She sighed. Yeah, I figured you'd say that. You seem like a good person. Kelly, don't let them drag you down with them. She let out a bitter laugh. Too late for that. Click. I stared at my phone for a long time after that. Then I did something I never thought I would. I unblocked my mother's number, and I sent one final message. I know you're sick. Go to a hospital. You can still fix this for yourself, but don't ever expect anything from me again. This is the last time I'll acknowledge you. She read it immediately. No reply. The end of the story. Months passed. I never heard from them again. I don't know if my mother ever went to the doctor. I don't know if my father ever sobered up. I don't know if Anna ever crawled out of her downward spiral, and I don't care. Because for the first time in my life, I was free.